Okay, digital design and graphics designing with type students. Welcome to week one. Every week I like to record a little session for you, going through the projects and the expectations and student samples and different kinds of things I can show you to help you through the process as we tackle our mini projects each week and our homework projects each week. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Blackboard, into the Designing with Type Blackboard class, and kind of give you the lay, give you the lay of the land a little bit. Announcements as you open the Blackboard section always pop up first, and I always try to give you samples and different things I stumble upon that are very type specific. I've been teaching a type class of some kind, designing with type, for about, almost 16, 17 years now. So I really enjoy type and the process of learning typography and how to use it in visual communication in an effective way. So anytime I stumble upon something, you can see all kinds of stuff here in the announcement section, all kinds of things that I stumble upon that I like, that I might share with you based on projects that we're doing. So there's the announcement page. Each week I'm going to populate a discussion board in there for you to talk about. In week one's about hieroglyphics, because our mini class project is a hieroglyphics project. So the week one discussion board is to find some samples, post it here, post the website or the image itself in the discussion forum, and talk a little bit about it. Talk a little bit about the style, the impact, the design elements, the positive, negative space, things that make it effective, things that help communicate the message, and talk design. We're talking shop in the discussion board. So I'd like each student to post an initial reflective post, and then I'd like you to respond to a couple of your classmates. This discussion board, more or less, is to just generate some thought and get you talking about our field in a way that is dynamic and uses the terms that we use. Because remember, our field, our business, is all about communication, whether it be with your client, your manager, other members of the design team. So you really need to feel comfortable and continue to talk about what design is and how you're designing. So each week I want to make sure that we get in there and do some discussion board. I also use it for attendance, to know that you're in the classroom, but also submitting assignments and different things like that count as attendance. But I do want you in the discussion board chatting a little bit. And although I don't give a word count, I like to give you guys to give thoughtful kind of responses and thoughtful posts so that we have something to talk about. And if I need to get in and generate a little conversation myself, I'll log in and post on someone's discussion post to try to kickstart a conversation or kind of put it in a different direction. So we'll tackle that each week. And assignments. The assignment section is where I've populated all of our mini projects, our bigger projects as we tackle them. Traditionally, the first several weeks, I like to do a week one exercise and then a week one homework assignment, and then you'll see week two and then homework, and week three and then homework. So the first several weeks, I like to give you a mini project and a bigger project, just so that you can kind of get some type under your belt, kind of get you going. So you'll see week one, we have the hieroglyphics project, where you're going to be going in using the EPS file that I have attached here that you can download, and you can open that EPS file up in Illustrator, which I'm going to do in a minute, and we're going to generate our names using Hiero symbols, which is always a fun way to kind of kick off typography. And then for homework, we'll do a poster project where you have to design using the alphabet. And be creative. Don't just type the alphabet out on an 18 by 24 document in Illustrator and call it a day. I'll show you some samples and some things that I'm looking for to kind of get you going. We are going to do a term paper over the course of the semester, something you should start thinking about the first couple of weeks here. I'd like for you to do kind of a research slash reflective response paper on anything having to do with typography. I've had students do papers on wedding calligraphy. I've had students do papers on the current type designers, maybe a new cutting-edge font, anything, graffiti, anything that kind of is written and is something interesting in the world of visual communication, something typographic. So you should start thinking about that. Under the course documents, I like to put the PowerPoint presentations that I've kind of put together based on the topics that we're covering in the book. Many of these presentations are ones that I've pulled even from other areas, other books, other content, other things I've found that are interesting. So not everything will be from our type book per se, which is TypeSense, but will be topic specific as we kind of tackle different things. So we'll start with the history of type and hieroglyphics, and then we'll move on to the anatomy of the letter form, what a counter is, what a bowl is, what a stem is, what the shoulder of the letter is, serifs and sans serifs and those sorts of things that you know, leading and kerning, and we'll kind of get into the real nuts and bolts of typography as we kind of dive into week 2. Week 1's more about fun and kind of getting you playing with the letters, Adobe Illustrator specific. So that gets you into the announcement section, that gets you into the assignments each week, and course documents supported with presentations. So let's go ahead and dive right into week 1, which are mini projects. So let's go back over to assignments. Our mini project is the hieroglyphics project. Now you can download that to your computer, which is an EPS file, right? And we know EPS files are great files for Illustrator because they maintain their nodes, their curves, their vector shapes, and you can go in and you can play with them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and force open week 1's Hiero symbols, hieroglyphics, and then I'm going to go in and do my name, so we can kind of see how playfully we can start creating things. Now remember, type's all about positive and negative space. The letter form is positive, and the spaces in between and around the letters is negative. So we want to make sure that we take that into account as we design and play with our letter form. So here we go. So you can kind of see all the symbols over here. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that over, and then I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to ungroup it, because I need these symbols for my design over here. So I'm going to see C for chip is right here, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that symbol over and make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do the old shift when I scale it. So we have C there. So chip, let's go in here and copy and paste that. Hold down shift, scale this up a little bit. All right, now I'm going to start playing around with the scale and location. You can see the smart guides are telling me that's centered. So I'm just going to start kind of creating, let's go for I. Every time I see these symbols, they kind of crack me up a little bit because you just never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. It looks like a feather of some kind. I think I'm going to center align mine using my smart guide. So we have C-H-I, and then let's find P. So I'm going to copy and paste that, and I'm not going to make this one as big as the other ones, so that when I center align it, it gives me a nice little spacing there. So there's my name. I might want to make that a little bit bigger because Chip, your first name, people always remember a little bit more than your last name. So let's go in and do McElroy now. So M. And it's fun because you have these little characters now. And so I'm going to try to build this name where the first name and last name kind of play with each other. So there's M, and here's C, right? I already have C from my first name. So I'm going to scale that up a little bit. I'm going to snap it in there. So MC, and then E. So here we go, the little bit bigger bird. And we know that my name, my last name is longer than my first name, so I'm going to do that. MC-E. And then let's find L. So here's L. Let's kind of nestle him in. Smart guides are great too. So M-C-E-L. And then I'm going to do R-O-Y. So here's R. Kind of the eyeball here. So let's see if we can find the center point. So M-C-E-L-R. So let's find O-O-O. Gosh, I got a lot of birds in my name. So I'm going to kind of put him there. And then Y. Hopefully Y is decent. Oh, Y isn't decent. What is that? Looks like a finger or something. It's kind of scary. So I'm going to put R-O-Y. So here we go. Here's my name. So I just allowed positive and negative space in my symbols to kind of create an interesting graphic. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Extra symbols, and I'm going to save as. And I'm going to name it McElroy Hiero. and make it a PDF. Save it over to the desktop. And remember, we always want press quality. I'm going to save that. And here is my first mini project. This just kind of gets you exploring what type possibly could be, which are pictograms or pictographs. So you never know, what type form takes in communication. And for hieroglyphics, it was a form of communication. So there is my name generated in hieroglyphics. So that's our first little mini project here. Very simple, very straightforward, just kind of gets you thinking out of the box a little bit. Designing some fun little symbols. Now, let's take a look at your homework, which is a type project. So I'm going to download this, and I'm going to open it up so you can see what the parameters of this is. Okay, so our type project is 18 inches by 24 inches. I would like you to do it in Illustrator, although you could do it in Photoshop or InDesign if you wanted to. You have to use one of the original fonts, one of the grandfather fonts, the Times, the century-old style, the Optima, the Arial, the Helvetica, the Caslon, or Adobe Garamond. I want you to use all the uppercase letters, A through Z, all the lowercase letters, A through Z, 0 through 9, all the symbols above 0 through 9, exclamation point, @ symbol, hashtag, $, percentage, all punctuation, periods, question marks, and you have to use all the letters only once. You can't distort them, black and white fine, can't change any kind of weird kerning scale thing going on, but make something interesting. So let's see here. Let's go back into Illustrator. Let's open up a new document. Let's make it 18 by 24, right? 18 by 24. Click OK. So here's our document. I like Caslon. So I'm going to switch. And let's see if I have Caslon on here. I should. It's one of the good old boys, right? Adobe Caslon. All right, so I'm going to take my cursor and put it there. And I'm going to do cap lock and do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. All right, so let's do that. Let's make it a little bit bigger so you can truly see what I got going on here. So here they are. All right, so then I'm going to hit enter, take the cap off and do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, right? And then we need 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we need exclamation @ hashtag $, Eric. Okay? So those are all the symbols above 1 through 9. And then we need Hiero, comma. Do we have question mark there? Question mark. All right, there we go. So now we have all of our parts here, right over here. Now, on your 18 by 24, you want to start creating something. And so I'm just going to copy that. Now I'm going to bring it over here, paste it. So I know that X marks the spot. So maybe I want to make it really big. Mark it in the middle of the page. And then I can get rid of the X from there. And then I can copy Y. And then I can go in here and, I don't want it to be attached to the other type box. So just make sure that you're over here somewhere. Now we have Y. And let's just scale it up just a little bit. And maybe we want to hold down Shift and rotate it. Maybe this is a little arm or something for this little guy. And so I'm going to start generating and playing with my letters one at a time to create an interesting composition here that's 18 by 24. Really. And I'm going to go to some samples here so I can show you. So let's go over to here. Kind of show you some solutions. Type can be a lot of fun, right? You can actually draw things like trees and buildings and people, the sun, and this is an airplane pulling a little, banner behind it. I mean, you can do abstract things like taking all the elements and making something funky like that, something kind of creative. You can go in here and create little people, and this student wrote out alphabet soup and kind of made a fun, playful thing with a clock and a cup with little handles. And here's some professional samples of type-specific things where they wrote all their type in paragraphs and made the 5 kind of leaning on it. Remember that you can kind of come off the page a little bit. So here's one where the letter's kind of breaking into space. Here's one that's really abstract, kind of broken up and kind of slashed. And I've had students create kind of these crazy busy things, you know, advertising a typography show using positive and negative space. Some kind of rather interesting things going on here. This is where creativity comes into play. It really doesn't have to say anything. You just want to explore the letter forms and create an interesting composition on 18 by 24. So the sky really is the limit here as far as what you would like to create. Now, remember that type can be outlined, right? So now it's no longer a text box, it's a shape. And one tool that really comes in handy when you're kind of doing these designs is the Pathfinder tool, right? So if I go down here and open up the Pathfinder tool, which is right here, we can select these 2 shapes now and do things like, let's cut a hole in it, right? This exclude here symbol in Pathfinder. Now where it overlaps the letter becomes white. Now you're really getting into positive and negative space. So what happens if I go in here and copy the O, just so you can see what's going on here, and paste that. Oh. And let's make it bigger, right? Let's create an outline, make it bigger again. So I want this to be really big, and I'm going to move it right in between these letters. Now watch what happens if I select all these and do the exclude. It cuts that out. Now you can really get something very playful and fun. So your mini projects for week 1 is the hieroglyphic symbols of your name. Generate it, save it as a PDF, and attach it in the assignment section. And your homework, bigger project, is this 18 by 24 poster project. Please take a look at this, look at the Word doc and the guidelines on the project, and let's have some fun and create something kind of exploratory here. Right now we're using letters as shapes, not necessarily as communication. So this is where we really get to kind of play with the positive and negative spaces of the shapes, which I think are a lot of fun. When done, you want to save a press quality PDF again and attach it in the assignment section. Please don't forget the discussion board. Let's try to get an initial discussion posting from everybody by midweek, Wednesday, Thursday. And that'll give us the weekend where you can comment on a couple of your classmates, and we'll get the ball rolling. I'm also meeting with you guys independently, individually, week 1, just to make sure that we're off on the right foot as we dive into designing with type. And then each week I'll record a session and we'll meet based on your needs. If you need a little critiquing, a little extra direction, we certainly can do that. And we'll tackle this content as it comes. So you guys have a good semester, and I look forward to exploring type design with you.